So, Magda, what are we making?
Mr. Chicken. Yes, today we will do definitely Mr. Chicken head.
Yeah.
Exactly like our prototype behind us.
So, seeing as the world is awash with packaging delivering our entire lives these days, we've decided to make these masks from a few simple ingredients and materials that everybody should have lying around the place. You will need cardboard boxes. A couple of cardboard boxes similar to this size should do the job. Slightly bigger, slightly thinner, doesn't really matter. You will need some paper bags. I have some white paper bags and some brown paper bags. These are just all the big shopping bags. You will need some, I've used some this parchment paper, roll of parchment paper from any supermarket and stuff for baking. So this is good. Tapes you will need some brown tape, most important. You will need one roll of brown tape, decent roll of brown tape should do it. You will need a roll of double-sided sticky tape, and handy to have a roll of masking tape as well. Tools you will need are very simple. A stapler, some staples. I have a polystyrene ball for the eyes, but you can find something else. I have a Stanley knife. If you're using a Stanley knife, please be careful. I have a scissors and a marker. And that's everything we need to create these masks.
So now, this part will help this part, and those two small will help to create hat. That long one will go on the top of our head, those two smallers on each side. Then we can create top big, two triangles, left and right. Then we create bottom big, those two pieces. Those two pieces will look a little bit different. We have to adopt a little bit longer piece of paper. That will help take this bottom big and attach to each side of our hat. And then big cone and two smaller on right and left side. Wattle, big wattle on the left, big wattle on the right. And again, two smaller wattles which will highlight shape of that big one, and also on the left and on the right.
Right, so let's get making, I suppose. So, first things first. We need to attach that and that to the side. So we get this, and imagine your head is there. You want the cardboard stack out there, don't you? Just the curve.
Be sure not to cover family head eyes. That will
Yes.
be handy.
Yes. So let's get started on this. So I'm just going to put a few pieces on to hold it in place, and then when I'm happy where it is, I will secure it properly.
Okay, I will try my... Yeah, it will be maybe easier.
Yeah.
Have it?
I'm going to just roughly try this on my head to see.
Try it. Woohoo! So measurement was okay?
Yeah, perfect. So there's the starting point. Anyway, so that's what we are going to create the rest of the Mr. Chicken's head around.
Okay, so that will be left and that will be right.
So I'm laying them down so they're opposites to be on the table.
I will do the same.
So that when you cover them, you have a left and a right. So we're just taking these up to get them strong enough, and just to get this, it makes them easier to work with, makes them stronger, and usually makes them waterproof.
Okay, so we have a left and right cover with brown tape. Now we try stick two endings together and go one more time with brown tape till this point to leave this triangle on the very end. Isn't it, Michael?
Because we want to come from about, so we want to be able to look out between the beaks.
Yeah.
So when we put it on, are we going to be like, what?
Maybe from the top.
Oh, you think from up there? So
Yeah.
we'll probably need to cut a little bit of a curve.
That's correct, because we have a curve over here, and as Michael said, if we will actually curve this ending, it will be easier to attach to the top.
Okay.
So let us actually curve first before we will go with tape. Yeah, and in the moment when we actually was shaping. It's such a easy to attach on the top.
So I take that one together like that now. So I reckon, is that about where we're looking?
Perfect.
So we want the curve, sorry, I'll slide on, see it better. So we want to get this curve so it sits nicely up against the head.
Exactly.
What do you think?
For me, I think that's perfect.
So, we'll first check to make sure we're happy with the profile. Now, getting that top piece in. But you probably use a piece of lighter cardboard if you wanted to.
But anyhow, if we will actually use thinner cardboards and we actually cover with that tape.
Still very strong.
Exactly.
So I'm just laying that on top of there and I'm going to mark the profile underneath.
That's great.
I've got this shape, which I'm even going to cut slightly on the inside of the black line because I don't want to stick out too much. So while I'm cutting it, I'm going to cut the black line, the line away so it fits in better. So again, 2 pieces for the bottom part of the beak. You know, that kind of shape that will go on here, depending on the shape we want. And then lay them down opposite each other so you know you have your left and right. Exactly. And then just tape them up again.
Hello. Hello.
So, now you can give me an advice from there because you're looking
I will go a little bit
back.
On the back.
So like that. So I'm going to pin the tip together.
We start with this ending.
Yeah, I'll pin the tip together so that stays in place. We can always move that afterwards.
Pin together. Okay.
Go to step 2.
Oh yeah, we are actually
We're on the beaks.
even 3. So head,
Top beak, bottom beak.
So, okay, Michael, are you ready to try?
How are you doing?
Doing well. Everything is okay?
Yeah. How are we looking?
It's time for fun now.
Right. So what is our next step?
Next step will be comb. Mr.
comb.
Chicken comb.
Chicken comb starts from almost the middle of the beak.
Correct. And now I will try to bend.
You'll see that if I don't talk while I'm cutting because I don't want to cut my finger off. Now, so here's our first part of our comb. Now, I want that to come from the center of the beak, so I'm going to do a little bit of trimming here, just so it sits in there a bit better. Not there, is it?
Perfect.
Yeah. So we take this up, both sides again. A little bit tricky going around these points, but
you know what I did? I cover everything.
Yeah.
And on the very end.
twisted it.
Exactly. And that it's easier, but in the same time you can get special marks which give you extra texture.
Yep. So I'm going to be inspired. I was going to say I was going to copy you, but
follow me.
in the arts we don't call it copy, we call it inspired. I was inspired by you.
And as I said, for example, if you will have some wrinkles over here, that's even better. That will give more dynamic and more shape. So be afraid to actually make lots of mistakes because you never ever will make something beautiful without mistakes.
All our mistakes will be edited out, of course. It will just be perfect.
I think I will put him this way. So automatically my bird will have different character.
Okay.
And will be quite different.
Yep.
Will be more bold.
So we're going to attach this central, running along that like a Mohican. So, Magda,
Yeah.
we've now put the first part of the comb on, and we're going to cut 2 more kind of similar pieces,
Okay.
but slightly smaller.
Why?
Because we're going to add a bit more dynamic and texture to the comb. So we want
Especially
to broaden it out. While it's looking all right in the profile, it just needs to be
More texture.
grander in texture. So, what we have is 2 more pieces of card, and one will be placed similar to that, and one on the other side similar, which will give it a bit more dynamism and
Structure, yeah.
Structure. And we're going to do them slightly different now, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go through it. So again, we have this shape in, we cut 2 smaller shapes like this, and they will be fixed there and there. Now, unfortunately, I got this, and I realised parchment paper is great, but it doesn't stick very well. So I'm going to create another texture on this by using crunching it up, and then I'm going to use a stapler, which I do have here somewhere, and I'm going to attach it. I'm happy enough with security. So I'm just going to, now I'm going to use, because it doesn't stick very well, I'm going to actually use a little piece of double-sided tape. And double-sided tape again can be found really anywhere. So I'm just going to put a piece of strip along there. So here we have it ready to attach. So I'm going to just have another look to make sure I'm happy where it's going. There, it's good. So what I've done, as I said, showed you earlier, is I've only glued it down, or stuck it down this side. So it's still loose up here, so that we can actually manipulate this and maybe support it so we can get a bit more depth and contrast on the piece.
So as you see, my head looks quite different than Michael, but still have the same sense. Different definition, different character.
A little bit too much there, so I'm just going to trim a small bit off it. Yeah. So here again, so I have this piece on here, so now I'm going to just put this similar location. Luckily enough, they don't have to be exact because nobody's ever going to see both sides at the same time.
Exactly, at the same time showing the same chicken but with different character.
Yeah, so there now I have that there. There you go. So there's our 2 larger wattles.
Wattles.
I suppose that's the plural. So they're going to be attached like this. Now I'm going to again use that crunchy paper effect on these. So I'm just going to get some of this out. Rip up a piece of it. Give it a crunch.
Ha! Like potato. Oh yeah, baby.
Are you happy with that then?
Big time.
Good, good. Now I have my 2 larger wattles done.
Jamie? I love it.
I'm going to
Lovely white.
I get this one slightly lighter because I'm going to build the other one over it. So, now, we need to think about here eyes so that we know where we want to put them before we put the wattles on.
Oh yeah, that's true.
What we've done for eyes is we've got a little polystyrene ball.
So when you're using 2 parts and you can actually stick to the chicken head, that will actually prompt where exactly eye's supposed to be.
Yeah. Now what I want to do is just look at it head on and figure out that the eyes are similar height and the same location. No, that's good. I'm happy with that. Just make sure it's secure. Now, so we have some eyeballs, which we'll look at in a while.
Oh, beautiful.
So I'm just going to attach that there, and I think I'm going to attach that with a little bit of double-sided tape, and I might even put a few staples in it if I can get them through 2 layers of cardboard. So there's a bit of double-sided tape on the back of this, and there's my piece. So I need a little bit of ice. You might have considered the smaller one, I'll be going over it. We're looking at about there. There you go, one wattle on it. And we'll attach the other one on the other side. And then we'll do the smaller ones. Staple it onto our piece of backing cardboard. So I think it's kind of there now, for me anyway. What about you?
I think I'm finished as well. We are ready to start performing.
The chicken dance, ain't nobody here but us chickens, since that rooster, any chicken songs you can think of. I'm just finishing off, and at this point then you can probably stand back, look at it and just look at any bits you want to change or just kind of tighten up or clean up.
I'm sorry, Michael. Also, it's very good when you put it on the head, shake a few times to be double sure everything is in the right position.
Yeah.
Longer than 10 minutes.
We're not putting a guarantee on how long they last. But it's kind of, even though it's such simple and light materials, it is fairly robust, you know.
My one is very comfy. How about yours? Yours is very comfy.
All right, I'll tell you now in a second. The moment of truth. Yeah. Doing.
Perfect.
What do you think?
Just perfect. I like your chicken, Michael. So exactly in this way, we look like Mr. Chickens.
2, 3. Thanks for joining us here in the Spraoi Studios here in Waterford. Hope you have a great St. Patrick's Festival, even though it's online. Next time we see you, hopefully we'll be in person on a street somewhere. Have a great time.
I dużo radości w Dniu Świętego Patryka.